Now we're going to sketch the hole. That's our final feature for the doorstop wedge, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to use this hole feature function here. What I'll do is I gotta get to the bottom face, the bottom face of our doorstop base, so that I can sketch my hole. The reason why I'm using the bottom is because we are also going to include the countersink feature into the hole. Now this hole feature will actually do that for us automatically, but it only works if you choose the top surface as where the countersink occurs. And we want the countersink to be in the bottom because we screw from bottom up when we add the screw. That screws our doorstop base to our doorstop top design. We do it to the bottom. So if I go to the bottom and I go, create sketch, yep, that's it. Now we're going to create our geometry for our hole. So first thing I want to do is I want to draw a line. Now we've got a center point here. It automatically snaps to the midpoint of this line. I'm just going to draw a line across like that. Right click, OK. I'll dimension it later. I always do my sketches first and put dimensions later. Next thing I'm going to do is going to draw a circle. There's many types of circles you can draw. Center point circle is the one I want, so I click on the end of that line, click out, let go. Happy with that? Right click, click OK. Okay, the next thing I do is I got to dimension it. So the space between the center of the circle, center of the hole, and the edge is 25. You can find that out by checking your drawing. 25. Okay, and the circle, our hole is drilled 5 diameters, at a diameter of 5. So when you chuck in 5, okay, gives you a diameter of 5. Okay, so that's going to be our reference geometry. Right click, click OK. I'm happy with that. This is automatically locked to the center. Hold on, I'll press F8 to turn on my constraint icons. I'm happy with that. This reference geometry, I don't have to turn this to construction lines because I'm not going to extrude anything. I only did that before because it made it easy for me to see when there was overlapping lines. When one's a construction line and one's a solid line, I can see it a lot clearer. If they're both solid lines, it's very hard to distinguish which line I need. So in this case, I only need this point right here to create our hole. This is already locked in. If I click anything, drag, nothing moves. I can check here, it says fully constrained. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to finish sketch. Now what I'm going to do is zoom in a bit, and we're going to use the hole feature. Okay, click on that, brings up a window. Okay, we'll move it to the side so you can see a bit clearer. Right there. Now, I can create a whole bunch of different types of holes. The one we want is the countersink. Right, so countersink has that chamfered edge where the countersink screw sits in. So when it's been screwed in, the head of the screw is below the surface. That way it won't scrape along, your floorboards or your carpet when you've got this doorstop on the floor. So this is the one we're going to use. It's pretty intuitive. All you got to do is choose the center. Choose the center from the sketch. This is our center here. So once I get to that center and it highlights to red, I click it. Look at that. It's giving me a preview of what the hole is going to look like. Now, here's where we edit our dimensions. Now, if you see from the drawing, the tech drawing you have in front of you, we need the shaft, the diameter of that to be 5. Right, so we click 5 there. Right. Now, the bigger diameter, where the head of the screw, or the diameter of the head of the screw, needs to be 10. You can tell that from the drawing too. Right, so it's updated on the fly. And the angle we keep at 90, because that's the standard angle for a countersink screw. So 10, 90, 5, happy with that. Check the preview. The termination, we can do distance, set a distance that we want. But in this case, we are going through all, because we obviously do screw through the whole piece of timber. I'm happy with that. Press OK. And there you have it. We have finished our doorstop wedge. Okay, if I press the home button, and I don't like this orientation, this is not what I consider to be a good view to view it in. I'm going to click back on front, rotate it around, and I want to use this corner. So the way I can do that is if I reset my home view, I can make this my default home view. So if I right click when I'm over this cube, you probably won't be able to see that because it's outside of my zoom viewing angle. I'm just going to move my window aside so you can see it. If I right click, set current view as home, yep, fit to view, and that resets my current view to home. So the next time I move this around, I go to home, it'll reset to the view I want. Okay, so there you have it. We've finished the doorstop base. Now that we've finished, let's go back and explore that features tree that I mentioned before. It's very handy because if we happen to incorrectly put in a dimension beforehand and we finish the model now, we don't have to go back to the start and do it all over again. We can actually change it on the fly. Okay, let's take, for example, I want to make this doorstop base shorter. So the way I can do that is I look for the sketch, the original sketch. Where you find that is the sketch is always attached to the extrusion that is based off the sketch. So in this case, it's our first extrusion. So if I maximize, if I expand that button there, it takes me to the sketch. That's our original sketch that our extrusion was based on. If you right click the sketch, you can go to edit the sketch. It takes us back to the edit sketch mode, and I can double click that dimension. Let's make it 100, just for lols, just for fun. Make it 100. It's shorter now, so I'm going to accept that sketch. And as you can see, from that point onwards, everything updates. To show you that nothing's changed in this one, I'll go to this sketch, the second extrusion, the extruded cut that we did. And if I go to edit sketch, you can see it's still 60 from this edge and it's still 5 from the base. So we know that hasn't changed. But we know that everything's updated and our whole doorstop is shorter. So I'll change that back, I'll fix it. Go back to edit sketch, make that back to 150, enter, okay, and it's back to normal. Great. So you can probably tell this feature is incredibly important and incredibly useful for large complex assemblies. This is what this software is usually used for. So when you're designing, like, say, engine parts, large assemblies, vehicles, or even furniture, the ability to change any part of our design on the fly is a very useful tool. Now the other thing I want to show you before we wrap up is the view. So now I'm on the view tab. I can change the visual style. There's quite a few to choose from. I personally like shaded with hidden edges. So this way you get shaded, so you know it's a solid object, and it also generates the hidden edges that you can't see. So we know that we've done the countersunk hole correctly. We can see the countersunk there. The next tutorial we'll be working on is making a tech drawing from this doorstop wedge. So we're going to use this model, and from this model we're going to generate this. It's pretty simple. It's a click and drag process, but there's a bit to cover in terms of setting up a template. So I've already set up a template for us to use. There's not much tinkering to do because I've done most of the tinkering already for you. So I set up the standards, the style guides to make sure that we have the right dimension, spacing, and text sizes, that type of thing. So this will be a preview of what we do next time. Okay, so to summarize, the tools we used for this exercise were, we learned how to use Sketch, we learned how to extrude the sketches, both additionally, extruding positive material, and also extrude cutting, so we cut away material. And the third thing we learned was how to create a hole, a very specific hole. Yes, you can use extrude cut to make holes as well, but this hole tool is specifically designed for things that require fasteners. So screws, bolts, that type of thing, you can make a hole with this tool. It's pretty handy. Anyways, that's it. I'll wrap up for this tutorial. Thank you very much for listening, and have fun modeling.